Hello everyone, welcome back to more Let's Glitch Super Mario World. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. Well, I guess it's been like about a week or something. I've pretty much just been making one video a week for a while now. But, it's not as much as I'd like to be doing, but whatever. Anyway, so this is Soda Lake. This is the only level in the game with torpedo Teds. And, these guys are kind of interesting, I guess, because like, they move kind of slowly. Well, okay, when they move slowly when they're moving to the left. Like, you'll see that this guy, I can easily keep up to him just by holding left. Like, we move at pretty much the same speed when I was bouncing off of him like that. But when they're moving to the right, this guy, see, he just kind of zooms ahead of me. He, like, accelerates. So, I don't know why they're programmed like that, but basically when they're moving to the right, they move faster than when they're moving to the left, which is kind of weird. Alright, now somebody mentioned, I think, this glitch in the comments before, so I figured I'd show this off, but basically, you can clip through blocks. Well, okay, first let me try to clip into this block. Alright, I did it twice now. Come on. Let's see if I can stay inside of it. Whatever. Alright, so basically, you can clip through blocks in this game, but most of the methods of clipping through blocks are like TAS only because they're really precise. Like, it involves having, like, a really precise angle and, like, jumping into the corner of a block at, like, a really precise speed, and you have to, like, hit the block at, like, a certain pixel to, like, wedge yourself inside of it or whatever. At least that's kind of how, like, some forms of clipping work, like corner clipping and stuff like that. They're usually pretty precise. This version of clipping is actually really easy to do because it uses sort of an exploit with your hitbox when you're riding Yoshi. Your hitbox is kind of weird when you're riding Yoshi because it's sort of like two hitboxes, I guess. You have Mario's hitbox and then Yoshi's hitbox, and they're basically like two rectangles stacked on top of each other. And there's a little gap in between the two hitboxes, like in between where Mario's sitting and where Yoshi's saddle is. There's kind of like a little gap you can't really see. But it's like a gap in the collision, I guess. So you can sort of wedge yourself into this block using that. Like, if you can kind of wedge the bottom right corner of this block into that little gap, and if you do it right, you can, like, you get forced out the other end of the block, like, immediately, so it's hard to tell, but yeah, I am clipping through the block. Sometimes you can stay inside of the block if you sort of hold back, but most of the time you just get pushed out the other side to the left. Anyway, yeah, that doesn't only work underwater, that works on dry land as well, I think, anyway. Whoops, I need Yoshi. That works on dry land as well, anyway. But it's obviously a lot easier to do underwater, because you can control your vertical movement a lot better, and you can move, like, laterally underwater, basically. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but anyway. Also, you can see... So one annoying thing about underwater levels is that it's really easy to lose Yoshi, because if you get hit on Yoshi, he runs faster than you can swim, so you can't keep up, you can't catch back up to him if you lose him. He'll just, like, run away, unless he hits a wall or something, but most of the time you'll just lose him. But there's a couple tricks you can use to keep him, especially in this level. As long as you stay near a ceiling, you can't really lose Yoshi, because as soon as you dismount him, Mario bounces off the ceiling and, like, lands back on him again, so you just continuously, like, remount him again before he has a chance to escape. Also, even when you're not near a ceiling, if you're on the ground, you can hold down and kind of forward a little bit, and you'll just basically mount him again, like, as soon as he starts to run away before he has a chance to escape, so it's kind of the same thing. Alright, I'm gonna try to get out of here before I run out of time. This level's kinda silly. Alright. Yeah, these guys... this guy, even though it looks like he's hitting me, when you're riding Yoshi, you can only take damage if something hits Yoshi's hitbox, which is kinda weird. So, as long as they can't touch Yoshi, they can't hurt you. Anyway, so that was Soda Lake. You can actually beat this entire level without pressing A or B at all, like either jump button. Even though you normally use that to, like, paddle around in the water. Because if you have Yoshi, you can bounce off of enemies, and when you're underwater, you can press up or down to, like, control the height of your bounce. So you can very easily, like, get around, like, using enemies to, like, bounce around. The only real obstacle is right at the beginning. there's nothing that's like low enough for you to bounce off of. Nothing like comes down to your level, so like this guy's not gonna hit me. So you basically have to use a glitch. You have to just I'm actually gonna grab a power up while I'm here. Sorry, alright, so you actually have to use a glitch at the beginning of the level there to like progress, because you need something to kind of jumpstart the whole process of getting into the level, and this first ledge is too high for you to reach. So you have to use the like infinite time glitch, the like death glitch, to when you run out of time you die, and then you swallow a power up to revive yourself, and the death launches you upward. It like causes you to boost. It gives you an upward boost, and then you can hold up to go higher, and you can reach this first ledge, and then from there you can get through the rest of the level by bouncing off enemies. Some guy 712X has a video of that on his channel. I forget if he used tools or not, like if it was tool assisted. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. So next up is Vanilla Secret 2. I'm gonna go ahead and link up the path back to World 4, or well, I guess like I don't really know where World 3 ends and World 4 begins here. I guess at the fortress. I'm not really sure. But anyway, also this is Vanilla Secret 2 right here. This level I'm about to enter. And it's actually level number 1 in the game's like internal memory or whatever, like the level index in the game. This is the Vanilla Secret 2 is level number 1. Level number 0 is actually the bonus game, like the tic-tac-toe bonus game that you get when you get 100 bonus stars. And Vanilla Secret 2 is level number 1. I guess the reason it's level number 1 is that it's at like the top of the overworld, kind of like going from left to right and top to bottom on the main overworld here. It's the first level tile that you like come across, going in that order. So I guess that's the logic behind. Anyway, so Vanilla Secret 2. I actually like this level because, well, this level in my opinion is on par with Yoshi's Island 2 in terms of like experimenting with glitches. Like it's an easy level to like test stuff in like glitch wise, because what I like about Yoshi's Island 2 is that it's nice and flat, and there's not a lot of obstacles, so you don't have to worry about like running into stuff. Alright, this is a bad example of what I'm talking about, but yeah, let me go ahead and not take damage here because I need to keep Yoshi, and that wasn't going well. But there are a lot of obstacles in terms of enemies, but not in terms of like physical barriers. And anyway, so as I was saying, Yoshi's Island 2 has lots of like, it doesn't have a lot of like gaps. It's got a lot of like flat open space, so it makes it really easy to work with like glitches and stuff while I'm doing that, you know, while I'm like playing the level. I don't have to worry about like falling in a pit while I'm trying to dupe a block or something, so that's nice. And it has a Yoshi block, which is really important when it comes to glitches, because Yoshi blocks are really useful. You can do lots of stuff with them. And Yoshi's Island 2 also has berries. It has lots of berries. And berries are useful. I showed before in Yoshi's Island 2 how I was using the berries to kind of fill up the sprite slots, and you can use that to your advantage to like you can kind of force sprites to spawn in certain slots, because you can fill up the sprite slots however you want, and then kind of like you can manipulate the sprite slots very easily if you have basically berries that you can easily just glitch and turn into sprites like that. It makes it very easy to sort of manipulate the sprite slots in your favor, however you want. This level doesn't have berries, but it does have a Yoshi block. It's got a lot of like, you know, open space to work with. And instead of berries, it has a P-switch block, which might not seem as useful, but with berries I can just keep you know, glitching the berries to get lots of them. There's not an infinite amount of berries in Yoshi's Island 2, but there's a lot, and I can fill up the sprite slots that way. In this level there's a P-switch block, and because I can dupe the P-switch block, I can basically get infinite P-switches from it, and I can just keep duping it whenever I need a sprite to fill the sprite slot. The other thing that's cool between berries and P-switch blocks, okay, there's kind of like two types of sprites in this game. There's there's, I guess, what I'll call type 1 sprites, which are sprites that, like, spawn naturally. Like, that just spawn, like, when you reach their spawn point, they just kind of come on screen and appear, like, here I am, you know. Like a Spiny or these Koopas, for example, even these Piranha plants, they all kind of spawn naturally. Like, when I'm off screen, they don't exist. And then as soon as I reach their spawn point, they pop up. They're like, here I am. And so that's a type 1 sprite, is the sprite that just kind of spawns naturally. And type 1 sprites, they have to obey the sprite limit, and there's only a limited number of sprite slots that they can spawn in. If there's too many sprites on screen, then they just won't be able to spawn at all. Then there's type 2 sprites, which are sprites that don't really spawn naturally. They have to be, like, triggered by something. So, like, sprites that come out of a block, for example, when you hit, like, this P-switch block. When I hit this P-switch block, the P-switch spawns, but it spawns as a type 2 sprite, I guess. So, I just lost my shell. That was stupid. I'm gonna keep the shell. I guess I'm just gonna do the death glitch to get infinite time. It's really helpful with like talking about glitches and stuff. So as I was saying, I'm just kind of waiting out the clock at this point. If you right, so there's two types of sprites. So type 2 sprites, I guess, can spawn in special sprite slots that are reserved specifically for them. I already talked about that how before. There's like 2 sprite slots that are reserved for those types of sprites, and they, oh my god, they, please, this is gonna take me a bit. Hopefully not too long though. Oh my god, I keep hitting it at the same time. I guess that works, maybe. Whatever. Anyway, so, as I was saying, I kind of wish I'd kept my feather, whatever. So type 2 sprites can spawn, they ignore the sprite limit, basically. They have their own special reserve slots. If those reserve slots are filled, then they'll just start using the normal sprite slots that type 1 sprites use. But even then, even if they run out of sprite slots, even if there's no room for them to spawn, they can still spawn. They can basically just steal another sprite slot and force it to despawn. It's kind of like the goal tape when that I showed in Donut Secret 1, the ice level. I showed how I could force the goal tape to despawn the shell. Gold tapes are special. They're the only type 1 sprite that can do that, but every type 2 sprite can pretty much every type 2 sprite except for berries can replace other type 2 sprites and force them to despawn. So, I can do the same thing I did with the goal point to force the shell to despawn that I can do with this with these P switches. So I'm gonna dupe a bunch of P switches now, and it might take me a bit. I might edit some of this out. I might just edit the whole duping process out. So this is a silver P-switch block to the left there, and I'm going to dupe it. Well, I tried. I'm going to dupe it if I can reach it from here. Yeah, you can see that it's blue P-switch now. That's because when you dupe a silver P-switch block to the side, it's a blue P-switch. It's another one of those blocks that has different contents if you dupe it horizontally. Yeah. Yeah, P-switch blocks are just like, if they're even, they're blue. If they're odd, they're silver, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just gonna edit this out. I'm just gonna dupe a bunch of blue P switches. So yeah, see you in a bit. All right, so back. So you can see there's lots of P switches now. Basically, I just kept duping the same block over and over. And so if you count them, there's 10 P switches, and then there's the shell. And then there's Yoshi, so altogether that makes 12 sprites. And, okay, hold on. I need to move some of these. Now the P-switches are persistent, so I don't need to worry about, like, going off screen or whatever, but the shell, well, whatever. Anyway, so, let's see. So, basically, there's 12 sprites on screen, which is the absolute limit. But because these, alright, just get rid of this guy. Alright, whatever. There's 12 sprites on screen, which is the limit. Which means I need, when I hit this P-switch block, the silver P-switch is gonna spawn. It's gonna just ignore the fact that there's too many sprites on screen, and it's just gonna steal another P-switch's sprite slot instead. So if you look carefully at the P-switches, one of them is gonna despawn. There we go. See that fourth one over there? The one it chooses to despawn is whichever one is in the highest sprite slot, so whichever one I spawned first, basically. Yeah, I just kind of laid them all out here for you to see. So you can see that the silver P-switch stole that blue P-switch's slot and just like replaced it. And similar to what I showed with the gold tape replacing the shell in Donut Secret 1, you can essentially do the same thing with this. I'm rewinding here. I don't know if you can tell, it's in slow motion, but yeah, that's another bad thing about duping P-switches as opposed to glitching berries. Having lots of berries doesn't slow down the game. Having lots of P-switches does. Alright, I despawned the shell, which is good, but hold on a second. Well, it's good in terms of the slowdown, at least. I'm gonna move some of these out of the way. So, which one of these was the one that despawned? Was it this one? Maybe. I'm not sure. Whoops. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Alright. Let me... Alright, so I'm gonna get this P-switch in Yoshi's mouth. Then, since I don't have the shell anymore, I'm gonna dupe another P-switch to get, to fill the sprite slot that the shell was in. So that they're all full again. There we go. That's a nifty little trick I realized while I was duping. You can turn the block that you duped back into a turn block if it's still spinning when you dupe over it. Anyway, now I want to eat. I'm just gonna move some of these over. This is really slow. This is miserable. Alright, whatever. So, eat this guy. Now, I think this is the guy that gets replaced, right? Yeah. Okay. So, there should be... Alright, so if this guy's in my mouth, then watch what happens. The P-switch replaces it, even though it's in my mouth, and now, this silver P-switch that's right in front of me, I'm gonna spit it out. Boom. So it teleported in front of Yoshi's mouth as if it had just gotten spit out. And also, if I step on it when I spit it out, I spit out the flattened part. And if I step on it and wait for it to start to, like, turn into dust or whatever, like that, and then I spit it out, or wait, no, I have to wait. How does this work again? Did I do it right? Hang on. Maybe it... There we go. Then, oh, right. I was gonna say I could get it to spawn a fish, which I showed before with P-switches, but there's too many sprites on screen, so the fish didn't spawn. Anyway, yeah, so that's a silly little thing you can do to, you know, replace the sprite in Yoshi's mouth. I showed you could do it with the gold point to replace the shell, and you could get the gold point in, or the gold tape in Yoshi's mouth. Now, using this method, you can actually do it with any Type 2 sprite, which includes power-ups. So I can actually get power-ups in Yoshi's mouth if I find a power-up block somewhere here. Wait, hold on. I have the silver... Okay. This is... Okay. So here's something interesting. The silver P-switch replaced one of the blue P-switches, and one of the blue P-switches... this is kind of hard to explain. Alright, I need to find one of the other blue P-switches. I'm not sure which one. I could just rewind further, but... Alright, how do I do this? How do I figure this out? One of these blue P-switches is gonna despawn next. The silver P-switch... Alright, rewind. Just rewind. So, you can't replace a sprite twice in a row, basically. There's something in the game's code that prevents you from doing that. I don't know why. But you can't replace... Like, if the silver P-switch replaces a blue P-switch, you can't have anything else replace that silver P-switch. Like, it's already replaced something. So, instead, the next thing down the list gets replaced next. So, if I spawn a power-up from a block, which I'm going to try to do in a bit, if I were to spawn a power-up from a block and try to get it to replace what's in Yoshi's mouth... Man, I'm rewinding pretty far here, and it's in slow motion. It's going to have to be one of the P-switch that hasn't already been replaced, and I can't really tell them apart very easily, so I'm just going to rewind to the point before I hit that P-switch block so that I know which P-switch is about to be replaced. Okay, so the one in Yoshi's mouth is now about to be replaced, and I'm gonna go hit a power-up block. And when I hit the power-up block, it's gonna replace the P-switch in Yoshi's mouth, which means I'm gonna have the power-up in my mouth. Boom, boom. So yeah, actually, you know what would be cool is if I could... How am I going to do this? Actually, this isn't that hard to do. I just need to bring some P-switches with me, which will also help with the slowdown. Alright. Actually, let me just leave this stuff over here with Yoshi, because it's nice and safe over here. Alright, now I'm going to go back and grab some P-switches to bring with me, so that I can hit them when I don't want them to be there anymore. Please, just double grab. There we go. Okay, so, I want to empty some of the Sprite slots after I do this. So basically, I'm going to get the P-switch in Yoshi's mouth, I'm going to hit the power-up block, and then get rid of those P-switches so that there's some free Sprite slots. Like this. And then I'm going to spit out this guy. No, I didn't time it right. Let's see, how am I going to do this? A lot of this game, when I'm trying to experiment with glitches and stuff, it's, there's a lot of, like, figuring stuff out that you have to do. It's not really, please, just stand still for a second. Okay. Let me set these right here, I guess. Like, right underneath the power-up block so I have more time. And then I'm going to hit the power-up block so that the hit replaces the Sprite, and then hit these, and then spit it out. No. There's a way you can do this that's interesting if I can do it right. There we go. So, what just happened? Okay. You know how I showed that I could get the gold tape to spawn a red Paracoopa? Well, I just got a feather to spawn a Goomba in a bubble. So, that's what happened there. Basically, if you spit out the feather while it's still like coming out of the block, like there's sort of like a timer that gets set on it when it first comes out of the block. So if you spit it out quickly enough after it comes out of the block, you can get it to spawn a Goomba. The feathers spawn Goombas in a bubble. So anyway, this here that I'm standing on is not a yellow Koopa. It's a feather. That's just the graphic for it when it's stunned. Yeah. It looks kind of silly. You can't really interact with it. You can eat it. Whoa, what the... Okay, it just turned invisible. Yeah, you can see I can still eat it, and it gives me a feather. It turned invisible because of the bomb, but it's not actually... Yeah, that's just a graphical thing. It's not... It didn't actually despawn. Okay, I need to... Oh my god, I need to get out of this train wreck. Is it gonna blow up? Did it blow up? No, okay. So the feather... Please, bomb, just go away, generator. I hate generators. Alright, so anyway, I'm gonna get that feather back. So you can do it with other stuff, too. It doesn't have to be a feather, like my mushroom up there. Let's try to do it with a mushroom. I'm gonna need to dupe some more P-switches, I guess. Let's see. There's one. Then knock you down. That's not good. Come on. Oh, please. I don't even know how many more P-switches I need to dupe. I guess I can tell just by the game slowing down. Alright, whatever. Let's see. Come on. Come on. I think it's one more after this, maybe? Or was that enough? Hold on. If I hit this silver P-switch block, what happens? Did one of them despawn? I didn't really see. Hold on, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What? Yeah, so that should be the right amount. So what happens when I hit this silver P-switch block? Whoops. Get out of the way, dude. This is a train wreck. Oh my god. This video is gonna be so long, just from the slowdown alone. Oh my god. Alright, please. Hit the silver P-switch block. Wow. This is fun. Okay, let me make sure all this... Okay, let me see which one disappears. Okay, I see it. So, now I have a P-switch that's ready to disappear. It was the third one here. It was like this one, right here, I think. I hope. Yeah. Okay, so this one, now I'm going to release my mushroom from my item box and then spit it out. Boom, I got a mushroom. In this case, it didn't spawn anything from it because it didn't have like a timer set on it when it spawned. But that's what a mushroom looks like when it's, you know, whatchamacallit. Oh yeah, I forgot, you can knock it around with your cape too. It moves really weirdly. It's sort of like a mix between a shell when you hit it with your cape and a mushroom when you hit it with your cape. It like bounces up like a mushroom, but it has the trajectory of like a shell. So it's kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, it looks pretty silly. It's just a piranha plant head. That's the graphic for it anyway, but it doesn't, you know. If I eat it, I get a mushroom. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. So there's other sprites you can do it with. Any Type 2 sprite, anything that spawns unnaturally, so to speak, with a couple exceptions. You can't, even though Yoshi comes from a block, it's still a Type 1 sprite. Anything that comes from a Yoshi block is a Type 1 sprite, whether it's a Yoshi or a 1-up. And throw blocks are also Type 1 sprites, even though you have to pick them up to get them to spawn. So, yeah, this is kind of just a silly little thing you can do. I'm going to hit some of these P-switches to speed up the game a bit. And then I'm just gonna get out of here, I guess. Well, do I want to do anything with the silver P-switch? I don't know. Oh yeah, the P-switch music is kind of glitched because the music isn't here. Let's see. Is there anything I can do? Well, okay, one thing you can do with silver P-switch is that its properties, I kind of showed this before, I think, maybe. When you bring an item through a pipe, its properties like reset. So for some reason, this is actually like a bug, I guess, but silver P-switches and blue P-switches are actually the same sprite. They just have, you know, a way of distinguishing them based on the position that they spawn. So when I bring a silver P-switch through a pipe, its properties reset. So its palette doesn't reset, but it defaults to the properties of a blue P-switch. So because I brought this silver P-switch through a pipe, it gets forced into slot 0, and its properties reset. So when I hit it, it acts like a blue P-switch now. Yeah, that's just a silly little... When you bring a silver P-switch through a pipe, it acts like a blue P-switch, basically, because it gets reloaded in the next room, and it resets. Oh, the music fixed itself. Cool. Okay, yeah. So that, anyway, that was Vanilla Secret 2. There's actually lots of stuff you can do in that level, because it's got a Yoshi block. You know, Yoshi blocks are useful, because there's lots of stuff you can do with invisible Yoshis, that I'll get to eventually. And this video is really long, so let's just go ahead and end the video now. Thankfully I'll be editing down some of it, but yeah, thanks for watching, bye.